Okay, let's go. Streaming is going. Let me see that it's arriving. And we start. My coffee is back there. Yes. Okay. All right, guys. Before I start, let's talk about a couple of things. First, you all know that we will do a show in July, right? I mean, I asked an approach. It would be, I think the winning option was like little show in July. Yeah. So I plan to. Sorry that I closed this. It bothers me a bit. The sound. If we really need it, I'll open it. Okay. So I will. No. Leave it. Just one is enough. If you want to close it, it's up to you. So first thing is like I will send a document today or like tomorrow, just as usual. Just like, hey, who wants to perform? What's your tech writer? What do you need? And all of this, so we can start programming that show. I think it would be very similar to the previous one. There in what's the name in? I don't know. It may be on Powerhouse in the Veranda. There's a chance that it would be on Powerhouse in the Veranda of Powerhouse. Don't quote me on that. I mean, maybe it will not happen like that. It depends on the availability, if there is really availability. So the guys are checking that out, and I wanted to ask you, like, by the way, the lectures run all the way until the week of the 24th of June, kind of, and after that there would be a couple of things. For example, I promise you, we will go to a museum, and that's gonna happen in the first week of July. You will not be here? Well, we'll talk about it. Maybe I can move it or see it, like whatever. If there is a problem, if it doesn't fit, whatever. We'll find a way. I really want to do that with you, and I want to recover that lecture that we lost here once. And so that's one thing. And then the second thing, I mean, I found a book. I found a book called, you may know it, it's kind of known. Wait, where is this? It's called Making Music by Dennis DeSantis. And I kind of started building like the last lectures of our course, of our music production course. I kind of started building them based on this book. This book has kind of 72 strategies on how to write music, like when you get stuck or something like that. Yeah. Some of them are kind of rubbish, to be honest. Like, it's like this guy was like, he could have. Sometimes I grab the. It's really funny. Like, sometimes I grab like 4 pages of this book and I paste them on ChatGPT. What's up? The link? Maybe I pasted wrongly, but I have it here open. Wait. I just opening that link and like, you see, it's a problem from the other side. It should be. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, it's the one NQX. So sometimes I grab like 4 pages of this book and I'm like, I paste them on GPT and I'm like, please convert this into a tweet. And it's like, you can grab 4 pages of this book and just say the same idea in one sentence, you know. Like, the book has a lot of things that go around. I started like, oh, this is a good thing to end the course. And then I was like, a bit disappointed. But anyways, I already processed like half of the book, kind of. And there are some interesting things. But and that's what I plan to do in the next 4 kind of lectures. It's sort of like thinking about strategies, making some little uprasnение, and okay. I just don't know what else can I do. Like, I can generate a new link. So here's a new link. No, this the thing, you don't need it. Yeah, this thing you don't need it. Anyways, I mean, I will share it like this, whatever. I have shared links for years, and you see, like the previous one, I shared it without this. All the time I shared without this, and just not needed. But anyways, let's see. Maybe today it's needed for some reason. It's normal. So that's the second link, and if they cannot join, it means that there is a problem. There it is. You see, this time it works. So maybe not maybe, most likely I was wrong. So. Okay, so, but before I go into this idea, I wanted to ask you, like, we have kind of like 4 lectures left to finish this course. Like, what would be amazing for you to do? Like, is there something that you think we could cover in these weeks, or you have no idea, or you have a wish list in your head? Something else. You know, there is a reason why I'm not touching this, is because in the past I used to have lectures about mixing and mastering on the foundation course. But in the next year, I will give you, I'm not kidding, it's kind of like 40 lectures on mixing, literally. So in this year, I was like, I'll wait till the next year just to start on the second year full on. Like, yeah, I understand. Okay, I'll put this in my system. Just put a limiter. No, I mean, I'm not saying no to your request. It's a good request. And for me, it's extremely easy because I have the lectures already built. And I can give a mixing lecture in this second right now because I have it built and I just need to open that presentation and give it. But most likely I will not go so deep on this because next year we'll have 40 lectures on that. Yeah, I understand. This will happen, definitely. This will happen. Like I got it developed. Yeah, we will develop this. So I think I have the chance for everybody to kind of like be happy about this, and I can just do both things. So it's not a problem. Yeah. Actually, I have a cool idea on how to do this. I think we can do this. I am gonna add online 1.5 hour tutorial on how to mix. That it would be designed for it to be watched like later. So if you don't make it, so you can open this video and then follow it step by step. Do you find that a good idea? And then you guys can open it anytime and just check it out, think about it, and we will continue the course like on the mornings and these days, just doing this creativity stuff. And I will record this 1.5 hour video for you guys. And then you can always watch it. Because next year we will go so deep. I'm so excited because I mean, I really have those lectures developed already. This is why I was so busy this year because I was developing those lectures. And yeah, sure. You guys have a course called Развитие технического слуха and mixing and mastering. They are both with me, and they both go in parallel. So Развитие технического слуха is 29 lectures, and mixing and mastering is 24. So we will go as deep as possible, and then the engineers in the third year, you will have like mixing 2.0 again with me, like that where we go like super deeper. So that's really cool. Anyways, thanks for that suggestion. I will take it into consideration, and we will do this. Okay. So that's great. That's a good news. So if I do this creative stuff, seems like, I mean, I hear some popularity about it here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Natalia. Let's share the screen and go here, and OBS is all fine, I guess. Hello. All right. So let's get into it. So the reason why I started doing this in the first place is because, well, I mean, you see, I know your program very well because I conceived it with other people, and so I know I have a lot of limitations as your teacher. Oh, want to start? What's up, guys? You cannot hear me? Beltrán, я не понимаю. Because Nino Nano. Окей, я понимаю. Чтобы меня узнали. Окей, хорошо. Come on, man, I'm getting saturated of all this. Yeah, anyways. So, let me start. I'm gonna mute the Google Meet. No, I'm joking. It's like muting people. I would not do that. I'm just kidding. So, actually, before this problem happens, because I know this. Wait, when I play a video, the guys are gonna tell me we don't hear the video, and for that I need to do this, and that's better. So let's go. Awesome. Okay, so yeah, I started thinking about this again in retrospective. After what I went through with the film, like with the work I did for the film, it's like I was always ready to write music, and obviously I think that it's important that you all are ready to write music. So I was thinking like, yeah, the music producer must be able to produce music on demand anytime. So we will spend some time exploring creative strategies. Okay, I was thinking about this. It's so annoying, like that. It takes me like hours to find those stupid GIFs, and then when I give the presentation, it's like tick 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 tick, over. That's it. But anyways, I have a great archive of GIFs in my computer, so that's amazing for me. So I want to discuss a variety of music production techniques to create music on demand. I want to show how important it is to be proficient in applying those techniques. I want to analyze the things that you need to know in terms of music theory and things like that that can help you. Well, you know, I'm not a master of music theory, but I'm going to recommend you an amazing source I'm going to give you right now. I want us to be able to combine those strategies, and I want us to have a creative mindset to fix problems and to be able to do critical listening and to think about things and extract information from music that we love and from music that we hate. Some of the things, this will be a general theme. You will see, like, I mean, it's really cool. Like, we have a relationship right now, like like I don't know, like teacher, a student, producer, friend, whatever you want to call it, relationship, and it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper in the next 3 years, and which is really cool. And it's so frustrating for me because I have all these presentations that I have prepared for you for the year 2 and for the year 3, and I want to kind of like tell you everything at the same time, but I can't because then I will have nothing to tell you next year. But yeah, I mean, I have this limitation, which is that I will give you lectures next year, so I need to kind of like administer the material. Imagine my position. I have to talk to you for 3 years, literally. It's like, can you imagine this? Like, talk to somebody for 3 years, and then it's like, how do I not repeat myself? How do I not? Like, it's really hard. And then talk to you for 3 years, knowing that the other teachers are talking to you about something else. So it's kind of like very narrow things, what you can find. And you will see that there is a theme in my lectures, which I've been developing lately, which is like, I kind of discuss with you the same topics from 2 points of view. My opinion, and then I try to find the opinion of somebody else to see if my opinion has really any value to you. Because if it's just my opinion, I don't think that that's a university level conversation. If you just say, because I made it up, you know. It's like, I believe this because I made it up. So, yeah, well, there is this really nice meme. Did I show you, like, source, I made it up? Have you seen this meme? It's amazing, yeah, with this guy from... It's amazing meme. It's like source, I made it up. It's like connected to, you know, when people share like videos about the war or something. So whatever people like, what's your source? I made it up. You know, it's like I'm so above everything. I made it up. I don't want to fall on that category, but it's really cool, guys. I promise you, I'm like some sort of like I don't know, prophet or something like that. I'm kidding about that when I say that. But many of the things, and I really want to invite you to meditate on this, many of the things I developed instinctively when I was kind of your age. And then in a point, I'm telling you, like I had, and I still have, and I want to try to destroy this on you. Like I have had and still have a security problem, like self-confidence. Even though I can perhaps look like as if I'm confident, but I have some self-confidence problems. And look at what happened to me. When I was kind of your age, I developed a lot of instinctive techniques. And I'll tell you a really good example right now. And then in the middle of, like, I mean, let's say that when I was kind of your age, 21, 22, I developed some instinctive techniques. And then when I was like 27, I was like, these techniques I developed when I was 21, 22 on my own, they cannot be good because, you know, I developed them on my own. I didn't know what I was doing. And then I abandoned them. And then I went to teach, and then all the people I was following were recommending those same techniques that I was doing when I was 21. I was like, fuck. You see, because I didn't trust it myself. I give you a great example. It happened to me yesterday. Like, I used to mix bass. Speaking of mixing, I used to mix bass. I used to grab, like, imagine, one bass track, whatever that bass track is. It can be a synth. And I used to triplicate it, and then I used to cut all the high end, and then work like, I had one bass track, which is bass only. One bass track, which is mid-range only. One bass track, which is high-range only. Of course. And I was doing this when I was kind of around your age. Because remember, when I was like kind of arriving to the scene, like where you are, kind of, the tutorials online on YouTube, there were not so many. It was not like now that you can search whatever you want and just find it. It was... Sure. Sure. I just like I told you, I developed this technique, and when I was around 25, 27, I was like, forget about this. Why did I decide that this was good? And then I came back to it when I was teaching. I just read a book yesterday for mixing for the courses that I'm developing, and it was like, grab your bass, split it in three, and I was like, And this happens to me a lot. So, anyways, some of the things I'm going to tell you that comes from this book are a bit repetitive of what, not so many, I promise you. Some of them will be a bit repetitive, but I like to discuss them with you from the point of view of an author, so it's not like source, I made it up, you know, like, so it's a bit more like scientific. I think you're in the university and it should be like that. So anyways, I recommend you 4 books here. Like always, I have put you links to them. I know that many of you will ignore these books, and I beg you don't do that, because it's really great. You will find a lot of great information here. The one that we are using is this one, Making Music, 74 Creative Strategies for Electronic Music Producers. That's the one we're going to be using for this block of books. Remember, if you click there, you'll get the PDF. So all you need to do is to open this slide, click it, and you will get the PDFs. Now, sure, just saying it. Now, one thing, I want to talk to you for a minute about this book, about the Beato book, because the Beato book is pretty cool. I don't know if you know who is Rick Beato. He has a really cool YouTube channel, like talking about music production and stuff. And he wrote a book, which is the super cool summary of music theory. Like, you have seen a lot of music theory, and you will maybe, yes, maybe not forget about everything. And if you do forget, and you ever need a book like to do a recap of what the hell is going on with music theory, this is your book. Really recommend it to check it out. Goes through all the like little, you know, quirks of music theory, and with a lot of exercises. Like, it's really deep. It's kind of like 400 pages long or something. Or wait, yeah. And it really goes deep. Like, I mean, it's really basic and really great. It's not difficult to go. Like, intervals, names, everything you need about music theory. If you ever need to review it, if I would be teaching music theory, I would base it on this book. So I recommend you to check it out. The other thing I put you here is The Complete Idiot's Guide to Music Composition. So that's a very old book, actually. It's kind of like from early, well, this is a 2005 edition, but yeah, it's kind of like early 90s, so it's not so much DAW focused, but it's full of good ideas, like on how to write and stuff, like how to create new music, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And I have here 101 Ableton tips for house and techno producers. Obviously, it applies to hip-hop, to everything, so I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and maybe I called Ice. By the way, I called Ice before I started building these lectures. I was like, man, I'm going to use this book. Are you using them? And he was like, no, okay. Not this one. I mean the one that I'm going to use. So we had a synchronization there. He told me that he has grabbed some things from this book I'm going to explore. But anyways. And also, I want to invite you, if you don't or have never seen the lectures of Jacob Collier, like, and if you don't know who Jacob Collier is, congratulations. If you don't know who Jacob Collier is, congratulations, because he is amazing, and he's an amazing musician, and you will learn a lot from him. And yeah, I mean, I put you here 2 tutorials from Jacob Collier, just like one podcast and one. He has this Skillshare course, and I mean, he's really
What's
good.
up, everyone?
He's really good at explaining like music theory from many points of view. Like, this is a very music theory-ish composition practice, you know. And so I recommend you just to really not ignore Jacob Collier. He's a great source of inspiration and creative strategies. So the book that I'm following, it has 2 sections, 3 sections, and we will follow them all. The first section is called like questions about getting started. Then there is another section which is like questions about making things better. And there is another section which is question about finalizing. So we will be seeing this in the next 4 lectures. So obviously, question about getting started is about like that initial push to get you to do something. Then once you have something, how do you make it better? And then once you have something that is better, how do you finish? So I thought that this is really new. In the past, the ending of my classes was a review of a masterclass by, I forgot his name, by Timbaland. And it's really surprising for me that I was doing that, because I don't like Timbaland so much. But when I started doing those lectures with him, I was like, oh, I really respect this guy. But I changed this year, and I thought that this was a better way to end. So I think this lecture number 1, for some of you, may be a little bit slow, because we have discussed many of these things, but this is from the point of view of the scientist, so let's go. Of course, when you start, it can be hard. You have all these tracks there, and you're like, how can I start? Do you have problems to start? Anybody here? Or you have problems to start? Yeah? What's your problem? You can't start? And I mean, you grab the instrument, and then you're like, or you cannot grab the instrument. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Ah. Okay. But what can be something wrong that you can do? Like, I mean, breaking the guitar, okay, that would be wrong, but okay, okay. All right. You know, this week, like I told you, many of my musical heroes that I respect a lot are releasing albums, and I haven't seen them for like 10 years or something. I'm talking specifically about Blur, Queens of the Stone Age, uh, and also the Mars Volta is kind of playing shows right now everywhere, and Foo Fighters. Like these old bands are releasing stuff in this moment, and then they appear, and I see them again after 10 years, and they are diedushkas, and I'm like, holy shit, man! Like when did this happen? Like I used to be young and fresh, and then everybody are diedushkas, you know, like wow. And I've been in these weeks. I want to touch this point that you're talking about, and in these weeks I've been meditating a lot about the fact that in 10 years, like I will also be like in Diedushka territory kind of thing. I mean, in the sense that these guys are 50 and I'm gonna be 40 soon, so kind of like 10 years I'm gonna be there. And I've been looking back into my life and thinking a lot about the passage of time and all of this. And last night I had a sentence in my head, and I really wish you hear this and feel it. Last night I had a sentence in my head which was, I'm telling you very seriously, I have no regrets about my life. Zero. And that's really cool. I don't regret anything except one thing. So I do regret one thing. I regret I have not written more songs. Like I wish I would have written more songs. And it doesn't matter if they are released or not. It is, you know what? You know when adults are always telling you like, your youth is the most precious thing in the world, don't waste it. You have heard this, right? From many people. I'm so sorry to tell you, but it's so fucking true, man. I'm kind of like, it's starting to fall on me as a person, you know, when I'm like, oh shit, like when I saw these guys, like everybody, I don't think that that's bad to grow old. It's really cool to grow old. It's part of life. But this sentence of like your youth, don't waste it, is really truth. And just, what can I say? Like, I mean, a mistake that is, I mean, a big mistake would be to not write those songs. That's kind of what I'm trying to tell you. Exactly what I'm trying to say. Because right now, I look back, and by the way, I think I'm going to use this before I start. I'm going to show you something. I look back at the things I did a bit earlier in my life, and I'm like really happy that I did them, because they are like a little, what's the name? I don't know, like they're like a little photograph of my soul in that moment, and that's really cool. So anyways, we have had this conversation before, you and I, similar, and obviously my answer to you is always going to be like, who cares? Just go. I really mean it. Like, just go. Like, you know what's a costly mistake? Oh, yeah, that you were called to play in the Grammys, and then you're singing in the Grammys and you forget the lyrics or something. Like, okay, but that's a costly mistake. That can get you in problems, you know. Other than that, I mean, just grab the guitar and play. I know that this is not going to solve the problem. I understand. But maybe you will remember this and you will be like, oh. So I was going to tell you that I was going to show you something. I mean, because this is a little bit about inspirations. So I wanted to show you this a while ago. So let's go right now. This lecture is going to be a bit more slow, meditative, about getting started and doing stuff. So, this is a music video. I have never showed you this, right? No? This is a music video from my band, Pobeda, that we released many years ago. And I mean, it's just close. It's just 4 minutes 45. So, it's closing your question, okay? I wanted to show it to you, but and those of you online, for you to see this, Gospod, yeah, for you to see this, go to this link and check it out. It's the easiest way. I don't want to be changing everything a million times. So if you want to see what I'm going to show, just go to this link and check it out. My wife was the director of this video, by the way.
Homeless from
just, I don't know if you noticed a little Easter egg, but the company is called HTD. It's like DTH. No, but what? No, this was in Elektrozavodskaya actually. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. So why did I show you that? Well, for one because I wanted to show it to you. Like I just wanted to show it to you, like because you're my friends and I did this and I like it. And the second reason why I wanted to show you, and it's to close your question, is like, you know what's the most important thing of this? That I can see it from the future. Like when this was like 4 years ago, and I showed it to my children. And imagine in 15 years, like I will see it again, I'll be like, holy shit, like it's so cool. So the only thing that you need to not do is to not make music. That's the only. And the other message, the other reason why I'm playing this now, close to the end of our course, is like, hey guys, you know what sucks? To do a job that you hate, and you don't want this for you, and that's why we need to work and make music. So anyways, I don't know if it was on theme, but I saw this the last night and I remember and I was like, oh, I want to show it to the guys. I've never seen it. So anybody else has problems to begin? You have problem like kind of like the block of beginning. Like anybody else like more creatively side of things? Like you have problems to continue, to listen? I don't know. You start something and it's like, oh, what do I do next? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yeah. One of the things I started thinking lately is that, I mean, before I go into this content, because there's a lot of content and there are going to be a lot of strategies like, you know, things that you can do when you have a chord or something and how can you flip that around to get some new ideas. But I lately have been thinking a lot about how, I mean, that I was taking this task too seriously. I mean it, in a way. It's kind of like, you know, when you start drawing, you don't start necessarily thinking about some... I mean, I don't know how to articulate this better. Again, I go back to what I said at the beginning. I think that one of the things we need to learn is to trust more like our inner voice and just do whatever we hear. Like just literally, and not to think that it's right or wrong. Like just like go and do it. Like just go and do it. Well, let's go to the material and see if something comes out of here that can be useful to you. I hope. So beginning is hard. The empty canvas makes us scared. That's very clear. So this is again recommendations from another person, not from Leo. Okay. Starting with one element at a time can help you to overcome the initial hurdle. So I mean, one of the things that we want to do is to do everything at the same time. And I don't know. Tip number one, there were going to be like millions of tips here. Just like think about one thing at a time. Like let's say guitars, and we're going to think about the guitars. Okay, let's think, instead of trying to think about the whole thing on the whole, and then you will start putting them together. Sounds very stupid, but let's continue. Once you get into the creative flow, ideas will start generating new ideas. And I really agree with this. I don't know how it happens to you, but I kind of like start, how do I make music? I sort of like choose the key, choose the tempo, really, like before I start. And we will discuss a lot of this. All of us, not only songwriters, all of us on year 3, we're going to have a lot of conversations about this, but we will get there in the future. We had a little like tempo exploration together, remember? We did it. But choosing your key and your tempo, that's how I start. And once well, I mean, basically, sorry, there is a prior step to this even. I start by choosing the mood. I really decide what I want to say before I even start. Do you do this as well? Or you start and kind of like, and then go ahead? You do the same, right? The same. You think like I want to talk about whatever, like the winter in Canada, whatever, and then like you start writing a song about the winter of Canada, or it's more like you start writing and then you find the meaning of your song after you started. You start writing and then find the meaning. It depends. Both. And for you? Both. Like, yeah. And for you guys, same. Like you start with a thought, like I want to write about this, and just go, yeah, the same here. And for you, kind of more like I describe it like your eyes go wide, like and then it's like whoa, and then you realize post factum, like what the hell just happened, and oh, this song is about I don't know, whatever the thing that happened last week. And what about yourself? So you start thinking about a concept, and then you don't achieve what you want conceptually, and then you end up like transforming your concept because the music pulled you towards a new place. Okay, great. Obviously, there is no right or wrong here. What's important to me as the person who runs this project is that in X years, I don't know how many, maybe next year, maybe in 5 years, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. You can be in a situation where I am. Somebody asks me, write a symphony, and I'm like, okay, I have never done that, but okay, whatever. It's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to happen. Write some metal? Yeah, sure. Okay, no problem. Like, write some hip hop? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I just don't have flow. Like, I don't have flow like as a rapper or something. But anyways, okay. Choosing the first step can be difficult, but it's key. Of course, the first step, like deciding which part to start, can feel like it's super hard. The fear of making the wrong choice can hinder the process. Huh? Somebody agrees with you. You see, like, that's why I like to see books. It's like we are musicians, and in the education of music, we are super, it's very non-university-like education, always. It's kind of like we're isolated from other opinions. We're just talking about what I think, and that's not how it should be. And to see that somebody else feels like you, that happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you. It reinforces my feeling. It's like, okay, I'm not so crazy. So there you go. Like, he says it too. Like, it's not coming from, you see, like, it's nothing to be worried about. It's kind of like when I see somebody saying, learning Russian is so hard. I've been trying to learn Russian for 10 years. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Yeah, so it makes me feel better. While the advice, just do it, might work for sports, which is what I told you. I just told you, just do it. And I show you a video. Look, do it. It's not as practical for creative work. So creative endeavors have a lot of possibilities, and it's hard to determine what exactly to do. So he's giving you some practical suggestions to start from scratch. Experimentation, constraints. I have discussed this with you too. Do you know what the word constraints means? Limitation, limitacje. Experimentation, limitacje, embrace inspiration. You will see up next, there are going to be a whole bunch of tips that maybe are going to be cool. Because one of the things you can do to yourself, this can help you, is to put you a challenge. It's like, I will write a song that has 17 chords. Why the number 17? Whatever. Like, it's the number that came to my mind right now. And then you have your hands tied, and you're like, oh shit, like now I promise to myself that I'm going to do a 17 song chord. And that doesn't mean that the final result needs to have 17 chords. It's just like, this is a way to trick your mind to getting to do something. It's kind of like, I once heard this really cool advice with kids, with babies. Like, I mean, when you want a child to sabirets, to collect the room, you can do this thing. Like, you can say, like, Sirius, can you grab this toy car and put it there? Like, just like a challenge. Can you do it? And then he does, and it's like, well, you see, you can do it. Great. Can you do it with the second one? Can you do it with? And then the guy starts packing his room on his own. Kind of like, I mean, all I needed. There are two options, you see, and this is what we shouldn't do. There are two options. Sirius, collect your room right now. I will not let you eat until you do it. And then Sirius is like, fuck you, man. I don't want to do it at all. And it's the same if you do it with yourself. It's like, come on, write a song right now. And your mind is like, no, man, like, fuck you. Like, I don't want to do that. So try exploring with different sounds, ideas, techniques without worrying about the final outcome, by the way. Constraints, set limitations or guidelines, blah, blah. Embrace inspiration. Seek inspiration from various sources, such as other music, art, nature, personal experience. I really do this a lot. Like, well, I mean, I don't have time anymore, like, nowadays, but watch a movie, like, and then write. Or personally, really works for me. And I tell you, if you haven't tried this, try it. With 100% success rate, I take a shower before I start writing. Like, I do it a lot. And I just go to a shower, and in the shower, I have a very, like, feng shui theory out there, which is that when you're surrounded by water, your mind thinks differently. And I mean, of course, I don't have a scientific backup to this, but we're kind of like 80% water or something like that. So I'm not surprised that it's like this. But it really helps me, like, I mean, just to reset me. And I start already like, la, 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 thinking about things, like start singing in the shower a bit. And then I come out and I write. Ah, well, I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Yeah. Yep. In the video game, right? Uh huh. You need to discover. You need to discover a little bit, like yeah. Exactly, exactly. You need to be discovering things like, and they are built folding after you progress. So, okay. Now the book has a lot of these things, which is like problem and solution. I sometimes, because of what I told you, that sometimes this author takes 4 pages to write something that could write in 150 characters. Sometimes I disrespected this. I'm really covering all the 72 strategies, but I broke the book in a different way. So, first problem is starting from influences a problem. Do you understand the question? Like, I mean, maybe you grab what song do you like a lot right now? Or whatever, just say the name of a song. Thank you for the music. Maybe you grab this song and then you decompose it and then you start writing from that song, from what you did. Like, I mean, I used to do this a lot at the beginning for me. I used to grab just a song that I like and kind of start to make a cover of it, sort of analyze it and see like, this song has like verse, couplet. Then like, I mean, notice that it starts only with a bass, and then I kind of stating that, and then I went my own way. So the first question that he's asking is starting from influences a problem? So, because I mean, you could say that this is like copying somebody else. What do you Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, from another artist, you mean? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Sure. I remember something that happened to me once, just coming back here into thinking about this, like, there is an Omar Rodriguez Lopez album that is called Xenofanes. I'm trying to think if this is gonna end up in a good advice to you, and I'm thinking that not, so I'm giving like a step back. I mean, I remember this, what happened to me, and I was really inspired by this, and then I ended up writing one of the best songs I ever written, and I wrote it like it's like a 10-minute song with a lot of parts, super complex, and I wrote it like in 5 hours. It was just like, and it came after me listening this album a lot. But anyways, that's another question. Let's. Ah. Well, sure. The song that I'm telling you is this one. I have a live version of it performed in DTH. Laps Around the Sun, live at DTH. And the song is this one. Wait. Yeah, it's the first one of this. So if you play this video, I'll send it to you. I mean, personally. Are you Kistirioa, like somewhere, or how can I find you? Yeah, please. Yeah, I'll just put it there for you and you can hear it. Yeah, it's that first song. If everybody wants to hear it, just ask her and she'll send it to you. So, there you are. I think you're there. No. Yeah, there you go. Just send it to you. Command B. Yeah, just paste. Está bien. So, and if you want to hear the album version, because it's very different, it's in the Laps Around the Sun Bandcamp. It's this song, and actually, to be honest, it's like I think it's relevant to discuss this a little bit. Like this song, I wrote it to my father. No, not this one. It's a message from your inner child. It's the name of the song. Wait, not this one. A message from your inner child. and the lyrics are really short, and I can tell you the lyrics are in Spanish. And I mean, I had a major fight with my father the night I wrote the song. Like, he was in London visiting me, and my family was always waiting for me to fall, so I realized that I was not a musician. Like, that was my relationship with them. They were always like, oh, yeah, you see, you didn't fail. Oh, okay. Oh, it was like this, always a relationship. With my brother, my sister, everybody was just waiting until I say, okay, guys, yeah, you were right. I was not a musician, sorry. So it was always this tension between us. And they came to London to visit me to see how much I was not going to become a musician or something. And we had a major fight. And I remember I went to the other side of the city, just got away, came back, and I wrote this song in one night. It was like, and this was kind of like the message that I was writing to my dad. It was kind of like, learn to listen and to celebrate your existence. If you cannot see the sound, don't say that it's not there. Learn to listen and to respect the innocence. It's not the same to live than to be alive. The path is the difference. And the song is super long. You will see it's like 10-minute song, but it only has those 4 lines like there. It all ended well. I mean, my father wrote me a letter kind of like 5 years ago, like a super long letter, like, hey man, like I was wrong, like holy shit, like I tortured you with all this bullshit, like I'm sorry, I just couldn't understand what you were trying to do. And last night, because I'm in this meditation of like, oh, I'm not getting old. I don't feel it like that. I just feel like definitely my youth is kind of like moving towards. I'm going to be the father of a 3rd child now. Like, it's like my wife is pregnant again. So it's like, holy shit. Like, I don't remember if I told you. I think I told you on Saturday. Yeah. So of course I'm meditating backwards. And you know what it's really amazing. And you guys are doing an amazing step. You don't understand how amazing this step is until you get to 40 and you look back and you're going to say to yourself, you know what's awesome? I didn't waste 20 years of my life doing something I don't like. Like, it's better to be poor. That's my opinion. It's better to be poor than to do the opposite. I think that whatever you decide, it's up to you. But as a person that I'm on this side of the river, I'm like, I won the game of life already. Like, I won it. I really mean it. Why did I want it? Because I didn't stay stuck in something that I didn't want it to do for 20 years. Because, dude, this life is, it's a gift. It's a gift. It's really a gift. So whatever. Anyways, back to this. I see that this is going to be flowing slowly, but I like it. I like the vibe that we're building here. So, okay, the influence of other music. Creative musicians draw inspiration from other music, which become part of their musical vocabulary. Obviously, while aiming for uniqueness, acknowledging our influences is crucial. Finding a balance between taking too much and too little, we need to find that balance, obviously. So, I don't know. I wouldn't be ashamed of you if I were you to take stuff, because we will see. There is well, remember we had this lecture about pop music and we discussed postmodernism. Do you remember that? Do you remember that or not? If you don't remember, it's okay. Yeah, you can find it in the lectures online. One of the things I discussed with you is how much postmodernism, which is the era where we are, is self-referential. In the end, all those songs that you're admiring, they already have an influence behind them, and there's an influence to the influence, and there's an influence to the influence. You shouldn't be ashamed of this. Anyways, that's my opinion, really, real opinion. Determine your comfort level. Apart from legal considerations, of course, you cannot steal something. Each artist must decide their level of comfort when borrowing from other sources. There is no definite answers on to how much you can take before whatever. Writing a catalog of attributes is one strategy. So here we go. There's going to be a really good recommendation. So the first recommendation, it's kind of the solution that he suggests. And this is really going to be useful, guys. I really mean it. So what is a catalog of attributes? Imagine that you hear a song, and then you're like, let's make a list of what's happening in that song. I mean, imagine that you do this before you start writing. It's like, I want to write a song, and then, man, I really like this new Chili Gonzalez song. By the way, if you don't know who is Chili Gonzalez, and you haven't heard the new single, I'll play it when the class ends. It's incredible. Like, I really like this new Chili Gonzalez song. What's going on there? And then you make a list of what's going on there. The intro is 16 bars. It's a piano intro. Then, and you see, you don't have to. You can just go and write your own piano intro of 16 bars. I mean, you don't have to grab and play the same piano intro that this guy made. You can just use it as a canvas to start doing something, and then you're going to change it later. Like, it's just the important thing is to begin. So this is kind of how an catalog of attribute looks like. It's like, okay, I heard the Chili Gonzalez song. The BPM was 122. What were the sound elements there? Drums, And then you make a good analysis. There was 808, four on the floor, lots of filter motion, close hats, baseline. Maybe it was FM synthesis. There was an electric piano that was distorted, blah, 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 blah. You see, like, I mean, there you have a whole bunch of tasks. And then you can see that thing and say, what if I try to make an electric piano that is distorted? Pew, 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 and start playing with that. What if I try, I don't know, just to have a lead synth, etc. You get the point. I'm not going to start going around this so much. I did this a lot back in the day, just listening a song I like and write down what's happening there. And that's a good way to just get you motivated. I would have done something like listen to a song, write down what's there, take a shower. Yeah, and while taking the shower, you think about what the hell you're going to do. And then come back after the song, and then come back after the shower. You just arrive here and I'm talking about having a shower. And like, I guess that you could make a whole book about out of context Leo. Like, I mean, I guess that it would make it for a full lawsuit. I think like you could make a lawsuit based on that. So what he says really about writing the catalog of attributes, let's see, like writing a catalog of attributes can help your inspiration. It involves identifying specific qualities, techniques, elements. Attributes can include rhythmic pattern, instrumentation, form effects, etc. Describe specific attributes from the inspiring music. Mention the form of the music, just some ideas. The catalog of attributes can describe numerous new works without recreating any particular. Yeah, because you're not saying what's in there. You're just saying like the shell, you know, what's kind of surrounding it. It serves as a template, but allows for individual creativity. Two musicians using the same catalog would likely produce a different composition. Put yourself in the mind of a musician using the catalog as a recipe. Only use attributes, listen in the craft to craft a new piece of music. So that's an option. That's the first option out of 72. So let's carry on. Problem. Can we learn from the music we listen to? Obviously, yes. I mean, that's obviously yes. We can learn. For example, like a great, if you analyze things, like you need to analyze them like this. I don't know, I don't want to tell you you need to analyze them like this. I'm just telling you how I analyze them. For example, this new Mars Volta song, what's the name? Backlight Shine. Something I realized, and I really want to use this resource. I realized it after I heard the song, and then after I heard the song, I have a resource that I want to explore. Wait. So notice, I want to play it, and then I'll tell you what I hear. Okay, check it. Did you heard something that called your attention so far, or just like some Latino music and that's it? Okay, so there is some interesting vocal line. Now check out what I extracted from there that I want to use in a future composition of mine. I'm sure I will use this. So notice something. Count. Wait, just count. Look at this. Ah, come on. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right? I mean, and then yeah, the song is incredible. You can just grab this idea like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and then just build something on top of it. Whatever, just change it, or maybe do it like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 14. But the point is that once you get this little idea, and that's you need to be listening to songs and extract things from them like that, and then you can get inspired by them. Although we listen to a lot of music, you don't really have a sense that you're learning from what you listen to. This is a quote from the book. You know what you like, but you don't really understand why you like it or how to extract compositional technical ideas from what you hear so you can reuse them in your own music. For most people, listening to music is a passive experience. We turn our music and we do something else, like another activity. The music is playing, but we're kind of aware of its existence, but it's serving as a decorative soundtrack-like purpose, etc. So he proposes something called active listening. It's very obvious. It's kind of, remember, By the way, these lectures are not all going to be like that. We are like in the beginning part, and then there is going to be more like techniques. Like, I mean, once you already have the chords, like how can you flip them to get something interesting? And we will be looking at Ableton too and all of that. So, I mean, I guess I'm going to maybe split a little bit and just try to be faster. It would be cool if you can just listen to music without doing anything else. Like, by the way, one thing that can really help you, I mean, it's a bit expensive and you can do it over time, but buying a vinyl player and having vinyls, it's an amazing way of listening music. I think that I have somebody here who agrees with me. It's amazing. It's just like I remember the first time when I was listening to vinyls, I think I most likely mentioned this to you. When I started listening to and the first time my phone rang and I was like, the music didn't stop. Oh, yeah, I felt so free. Like, I was like, fuck, I can talk and the music continues. Like, great. So anyways, recommendations that he says, listening into layers. Listen to the same piece of music multiple times, focusing on different parameters on each time. Sound, harmony, melody, rhythm, and forms. Like, spread them apart. Like, for example, if we continue with this song, like, I am obsessed with this bass line, which is an obsession with the what's the name? It's an obsession with the harmony of the song, right? Sorry? Yeah. And for example, something that you notice too, and I like to pay attention to these details. You see, like there is this keywords, this pattern 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's repeating here, but now the keywords is only holding it. And that's something I really like to do. Is like when you imagine have a resource in the intro, that then it kind of appears again in the verse, but you kind of have to pay attention to find it. Like it's sort of like you see that chords that I showed you at the beginning, they are playing right now. You just like kind of don't hear it anymore because they build another construction on top of it. Use what? Where is? Yeah, or you can use Nopia, yeah, which is a cool synth. I've seen it, yeah. Yep. So parameters to it's a MIDI controller. I was mistaken. Then it was not what I thought. Ponyo. Nice. So it does everything that you don't have to do anything. Yeah. So listen in chunks. Yeah, I mean, basically some recommendations here. Like use your DAW to load the song. That's really cool. Sometimes I load a song that already exists into my DAW and I use it as a template. And then I kind of make tempo changes and use that as a base. Listen subjectively. Identify aspects that evoke familiarity, nostalgia, emotions, etc. Whatever. Just listen actively. Just don't hear like on the background. Then there is another point, he says, which is listening to music that you hate. Like, the more you know, the more you know. I found this great, the great gift, like, the more you know, the more you know. And this is one of the cases, I think, when I used, no. Yeah. This is a quote by Igor Stravinsky, by the way. Look at this. My freedom consists in my moving about with the... this is more about... Sorry, I think I skipped something here before I started. Wait. Yeah, this is just like listen to music that you hate and expand your horizon. There is nothing in particular there. It's just an inspiration there. Just grab something that you hate and hear it and try to analyze it. Now, wait a second. I think that for this to be more understandable, I just need to put one line here. I think it would be more understandable if this Igor Stravinsky thing is like let me just put this here in the center and just right here, create artificial constraints. So limitations. And this is a quote by Igor Stravinsky. My freedom consists in my moving about within the narrow frame that I have assigned myself for each one of my undertakings. I shall go even further. My freedom will be so much the greater and more meaningful, the more narrowly my limit in my field of action is, and the more I surround myself with obstacles. Whatever diminishes constraint, diminishes strength. The more constraints one imposes, remember, constraint limitation. The more one frees it oneself of the claims that shackle the spirit. This is what Stravinsky lived in which years? Let me just see, when was this written? And imagine, I mean, this guy wrote this before TikTok or Instagram or anything. So, I mean, Stravinsky died in 71. So, I mean, pretty far away from anything related to our modernity. And we are now drowned. We're drowned in impulse. It's really brutal to see. It's overwhelming. We're drowned on stuff coming to us and supposedly limitlessness, and it's better to limit yourself. So apply arbitrary constraints before starting to work, create a narrow frame of possibilities, and then entirely within the frame, this is a quote from the book, applying arbitrary constraints help you limit your field of options, allowing you to move further. I think that if I'm not mistaken, I put an example here. For example, imagine, make every sound from one sample. Just that you decide this before you start. It's a game. It's a game with you. It's kind of like, what am I going to do today? I'm going to just write a song, and I'm going to do layering only with one sample. Why? Because that's how it is. Maximum 2 scenes per layer. Completely avoid an instrument that you would expect in any genre. For example, write a metal song without guitars. Something like that. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, fuck. Like, and these are the kind of things that right now you have to be doing. Not you don't have to, but it would be cool if you just feel free to do these things and just like get lost into this. Yeah, write a metal song with guitars. Give yourself a deadline. This is another recommendation from the author. It's kind of like, I'm going to work on this until Thursday. Whatever happened to me for today and Thursday, that's what it was. And that's it. Schedule tasks as if they were appointing with yourself. These are just examples. There are a million. Change the lace you make. I guess the place. Sorry. Not the lace. I missed a P there. And that's a cool idea too. Like, I mean, kind of like, I mean, I'm going to make music. Let's say you book a repa basa and go to a repa basa to write some music. Something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Come to MMS and write music in MMS. I don't know. This is another option. That's yeah, of course, you're gonna have to carry a lot of shit. This is another thing he's saying, and it's a cool idea. Write drunk, edit sober. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor about, and what he wants to tell with that is sort of like, I mean, I'm by no means encouraging drinking alcohol of anything. I really don't mean it in the sense of drinking alcohol, and that's not me who wrote it. It's a quote from the book. What he means about this is like, there is a moment of creativity, and there is a moment of little mileage and details. They are different. And I have told you this in the past. It's kind of like, sometimes it's like, I feel super creative. And then you start writing something and then like, wait, but this sound doesn't sound how I want. And then you spend 4 hours changing that sound. And then you kind of like lost all the time just in like 1 second and you didn't wrote anything. And for this, I have a very, for example, about these limitation things. When I write songs in the first session, I only use piano sound. And then later I think, oh, the synths. So what he means, like you see, the drunk moment is me, oh, white eyes go, oh, I'm possessed by the spirits of music. I start writing some songs, like la 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 la, and then I go to sleep or take a shower, whatever, and then come back and it's like, then I come back and it's like, okay, now let's change those sounds for sounds that are cool. So sometimes we're music making, we find moments of amazing creativity and and flow, but because we have in mind the ultimate goal of a great track, we sometimes stop mid-flow to edit, correct, or otherwise disrupt the creation process. And once we do, it can be difficult to get back into the flow. So maybe it's better to move on to complete the idea and then later tweak it to perfection. However, but I mean, this is my comment on what he's saying, because I do have a bit of a difference of opinion. It's like, I think it's good to write in a hurry, in the sense that just like vomit all your ideas there, but I have encouraged you to do in the past, and I will repeat, do some minimal editing on the way. Like, for example, quantize, it's just a click, click quantize. Okay, I think this is really important, actually. Just like, and I write it. You see, however, I argue that it's better to write in a hurry and fix immediately as you write, not to absolute perfection, but make corrections before start arranging. Because what really sucks is that you don't edit at all, and then you find yourself with some kasha there because all the elements are not falling into place. You don't perceive it well. So I do recommend some little editing. It's hard to work with Krivi Party, and then you don't like it, and you don't feel like continuing because you hear it and it sounds like crap, and you're like, and you don't want to continue moving on. So there is another next problem he discusses. This is about before we start. Let me see. I would love to finish today all the things that are. Yeah, I think we will make it. That's a great. It's looking like a great timing. So the next problem he discusses before we start is choosing a tempo. So of course it affects the energy of the track. We had a lecture about this, we discussed it, but I'm gonna just glance over what he says. Very different BPMs can change a lot of perception. Remember, like you guys, I gave you the same MIDI. Some of you had like 90, some of you had 180, some of you had 60, and the results were so different. And sometimes 3 BPM changes everything, really. Different genres, and this is going to be useful. It's another recommendation that these slides is going to tell you. Different genres have different tempo ranges associating with them. So you're going to see like reggae music, for example, kind of orbits around 60 BPM and 100, something like that. You will see it in a minute. So this can be useful just to like, you're blocked and you're like, oh, how do I start? What's the genre? Pop? Okay, well, I have this range in between this and this. For example, one of the limitations that I put myself is like, I always choose odd numbers for BPM. It's like, if I like 124, then I try 127. Because whatever, I just like odd numbers more than even. Another limitation that I put myself is like, I like odd time signatures. So I like to write in 3, in 7, like I like to write in 9, I like to write in 13. Like that's why my songs are not so popular, because people don't like these things. People want, yeah, I remember somebody, when I released the latest Laps Around the Sun album, a friend of mine wrote me a message like, man, your album is so fucking smart, and that's why it's going to be a failure. This is exactly what he wrote me, and he was right. No, well, I mean, nowadays I don't have a conflict with this. Like, I do this music for myself, so it's sad, but it's how it is. Like, I don't even know if it's sad. I don't care. I really don't care. It's for me. Like, so anyways, general considerations. Yeah, okay. Audience engagement tempo can influence how listeners connect with the music. A bit faster tempos, well, can carry a sense of energy. Certain tempo ranges can give you more musical flexibility than others. This is so true. It's like trying to come here with a what this means is like, when you start working with a lot of different tempos, you're going to start figuring out that some tempos really help your song and some tempos don't help your song. Think about it. If I want to take my kids to the park and I'm like an asshole, like, come on, everybody, get a hug, okay, come on, let's go. And everybody's like, man, we're just going to go to the park and have a good time, you know. And I'm like, pushing everybody. Nobody's going to have a good time like this. If you choose the wrong tempo for your song, you're doing something like that. So you got to be careful with your tempo. So, well, let's keep this part. I mean, in the sense that there is obviously perfectly, some things are more musical than other. Common tempo divisions allow for easy synchronization with the beat and rhythmic elements. I mean, this is a good idea. It's kind of like, if you're going to write in 4, try your BPM to be a multiplier of 4, something like that. Like, I mean, it's just an idea. Could be good for administering music across time. And then he gives us some sort of like idea of where these things fall. Like, I mean, dub music in between 60 and 90, hip hop in between 60 and 100. Of course, this is just a reference. I'm not telling you it's the truth. Down tempo between 90 and 20, house between 115 and 130, techno trance, dubstep. This is very electronic music oriented. So, I mean, the only reason why this is useful is maybe just so you can start, like, and then you start. Great. So, this is a really good and true statement. I agree with you, with you, Denise. Change your tools. Like, I mean, sometimes a good way to just start is to try a new tool. It's like, hey, my friend has this synth in his house, and I'm like, can I take the synth for a week? And then you take the synth, and whoa, you have a new tool there, and then you get motivated to write. That can be useful. And even if you're a seasoned veteran with years of experience and carefully thought out reasons for choosing your studio tools, try making a track using completely different set of tools. Try changing everything from your DAW. I have done this. It's actually interesting, but it can maybe not exactly comfortable, but to your plugins, your hardware instruments, deliberately discarding the ones that you have already built. So that's a cool thing, and I really do this a lot. It's like, I cannot use the Mini Moog V, whatever, that I love to use. And then that's a limitation, and that helps me. So other thoughts that he puts there on the table. don't expect to finish it all in one go. Work on parts and then put them together. That's a really important idea too. And it kind of connects to our conversation at the beginning. It's sort of like, I mean, we have this expectation. Well, I don't know. To be honest with you, there are a couple of thoughts here, and I'm going to be honest about something. I have this theory with myself that if I don't finish the song in one go, it's going to be a bad song. Like, it happens to me like that. 90% of the times when I kind of write something and I let it there and then I come back to it like in a month, it was better for me when I just write it all in one go. That's kind of how I am. After the soundtrack writing, everything changed to me, so I don't know how it would be. But anyways, just saying, he's suggesting us to maybe focus like, okay, I'm going to work on the prepief today only or only the couplet. Feel free to start from presets and build template projects. That's really important, I think. I discussed this before. Build simple sounds, create music using them, and then rework their timbre, like start with a piano and then change it. Work sometimes without a goal and follow the white rabbit. You know, if you have seen Matrix, you know what I mean? Just work sometimes without a goal and just see where it takes us. That's not a bad idea. Call another musician to come and work with you. Just like, hey man, what are you doing? Like, I'm just playing some guitar, come home. Like, I know in Moscow this is not so simple because the city is huge, but I mean, you can plan it. Like, let's meet next Thursday and let's write together. And well, he's recommending you like, hey, you have some old projects there archived, don't forget about them. Maybe you can see them under a new light today, and that would be cool. Another thing he recommends before we finish this like starting project ideas is to use time boxing. What he means is just like literally just say, I'm going to work for 3 hours. And I mean, just make a time slot in your calendar, you know, and say, I'm going to write. This is really useful. And to be honest, in London, when I was in the university, I started already doing this. I was like, okay, I'm going to allocate to myself 3 hours writing. The album of The Lapser on the Sun, the latest one, I wrote it like that. It was like, I decided to book 6 hours every day for a month. It was really like that. I'm shocked that I even had that time back then. So yeah, setting fixed amount of time for a particular task, it's up to you, but it should be short enough so it's manageable. For example, you might decide to spend 20 minutes on sound design, set a timer, and then repeat this process, maybe 20 minutes for another task, drum programming. You can be very micro manager if you want. And I so agree with this, and my mind, and you have to tell me if this happens to you as well, my mind is always trying to do this shit. It's like, I sit there and I'm like, I don't know. For example, I sit there to start writing and I'm like, maybe I should just like right now change the position of the speakers. Because, you know, I read that they can be maybe out of phase. And it's like, do you really need to change the position of the speakers right now before writing music? Like, maybe it's okay to leave them like that and just write. And then maybe, okay, you book a Sunday and you say, I'm going to fix the speakers now. That's another task. I should better update my software right now. That's a classic one before I start writing this session. And then it's like, you update the whole thing. It's like 3 hours and you get glitches, errors. You end up in a forum trying to fix something. So ignore these problems. They're not as important as you think. There is a guy called Steven Pressfield. He has a book. I don't know this book. This is a quote from DeSantis. He has a book called The War of Art and talks about a force that manifests in life of creative people in order to keep them from getting work done. He calls this force resistance. These problems you're finding in your studio are a manifestation of resistance. And by the way, this conversation we had initially about your case, this is also resistance. It's like, and it's a trap, he's saying. Your mind plays tricks to try to keep you from working. None of these problems are serious enough to take your time away from your creative efforts. If they were, you would have solved them already during your non-productive time. The only reason you notice them when you sit down to work is a part of you doesn't want to sit down to work. So being aware of this maybe can help us too. Okay, so we're going to start. I found this amazing GIF. I was like so happy about it. And I really thought like, should I use it or not? But yeah, I find it amazing. So the next lecture that we will have next week starts here. And it's like about, okay, we already got started. Great. Now let's think about how can we improve the things that we have. So, for example, music sounds flat or lacks depth. For example, when working on a track, you need to write the fine balance between detail and generation. And there are some options like, I mean, I need more ideas, need more ideas, need more ideas, need more beats. polyrhythms. We're not going to talk about it because we already talked about it. There is a recap, and that's where we're going to start next week. So, and we will take it all the way till the end, till finishing a track. So yeah, I think it's not bad to end it right now with a couple of extra minutes. So that was the intro idea, and yeah, let's take a pill and chill.